Hello, I'm Dr. Larry Carnes. Welcome to Spotlight TV. We're so glad that you could join us for another powerful and exciting episode. We have a very, very special guest with us today, John Neyland. John, how are you?
Double good.
Wonderful, wonderful. Listen, man, we're so glad that you could join us. We're excited about this powerful book that you have. Do something for me. Take about a minute and introduce yourself to our viewing audience before we talk about this powerful book. Look right there and talk to our viewing audience.
Well, I'm John Neyland. I've got a wife and 3 perfect kids. I've got been self-employed in business for 40-something years. And I strongly believe that the reason that we're all here on this earth is the same reason, and that is to help our neighbor. So everything I do all day long is about trying to push that ball further to help my neighbor next door.
Yes.
And today I hope to help a few more people.
Excellent. You know, in our conversations that we've been having, it is conveyed that you have this servant's heart and this servant spirit. And as we've been having conversation, we've been talking about some things that have taken place in your life, some things that have transpired. You have this powerful book, Live the Life You've Yet to Dream. Now, when you get this title, I looked at something, a childhood of abuse and containing. Now, when you say a childhood of abuse, continuing struggles, that means that thing was progressive. Continuing struggles with severe OCD would defeat most people. But it's written here that John believes he has been truly blessed with a unique perspective on marriage, parenting, and business. He has turned those challenges and skills he's learned into a book. Talk to us about that.
Well, I said live the life you've yet to dream because in my childhood, it was a very difficult childhood, a very abusive father that physically and emotionally abused you and taught you really that you weren't worth anything. And so therefore, if you don't think you're anything, if you don't think much of yourself, you can't dream very well, can you?
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, and you've got to see it to be it. So if you can't do that, you're really in a tough spot. So the book was prompted by my employees because from time to time I tell them stories of my life, and I hired a new gentleman to work for me. He moved here from Santa Monica, California. And the second time we had lunch, he said, John, you really should write a book.
Yeah.
And I thought, everybody's been asking me to do that. Maybe I ought to think about doing that. And I did so. And in about 3 months time, 2 months, 60 days I wrote the book.
60 days.
60 days.
Now you just made a very powerful statement. You have to see it to be it.
You have to see it to be it.
Now I say if you can visualize it, you can materialize it. So you saw it internally as a vision, and then that vision became your reality.
It started, Larry, at 5 years old.
Yes.
5 years old. I've only gotten one spanking my entire life. Other times it beat the holy fire out of me. And that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that as my father was beating me, it felt like he hated me. And he took a lot of energy to often tell us he didn't love us. He goes, I can't tell you I love you because I don't know what love is. And so I was 5 years old. I was laying in my backyard one day and I was laying in clover and I could hear the bees all around me. But I wasn't afraid, Larry. I thought, those are nice bees. And I'm looking at this huge sky above me, these big white clouds. And I thought, man, this world's a huge place.
Yes.
And I can do anything. And I believed it. I believed it.
Yes.
And I thought, what matters to me? At a 5-year kid, what do I want my life to be like? Because I looked at the life I was living in, and some things about that weren't right. And I thought, you know what? I want to be a really good daddy. Because I wanted a good daddy. I wanted daddy to love and care for me, right? And I saw my daddy beat my mama like just a horrible amount of terrible beatings. I want to be the kind of spouse like to have had.
Yeah.
But what we never had in that house, when all this violence took place, we never had help. Never had help, but one time. And so I want to help, I want to enable people to have a life that otherwise wouldn't have.
Yeah.
That one time there was Christmas Day. The one time I had help. One time. I was about 11 years old. And my mom was a bad alcoholic. Bad alcoholic means this. She would get to where she couldn't stand up, and she often tried to shoot herself in the head or take an overdose.
Suicidal.
Very suicidal. And of course, as a kid, that's tough because you're trying to save mama. Well, it was Christmas Eve, and we went to bed, and my big sister wakes me up at 2:30 in the morning, 1 year older, And she goes, Mom didn't put out Christmas presents. I said, what? I said, why not? I don't know. I said, well, go wake her up. We sure couldn't wake. We knew she's passed out, right?
Yeah.
Trying to wake Mom up, and finally said, what do we do? And this story teaches me a lot. We said, well, I know where the presents are, Carrie. They're up in the attic. I know where the mom keeps them. So we creeped up in the attic as quiet as we could, got all the presents out. At about 4:30 in the morning, gave each other a big old high five. We had just saved Christmas. There's 6 kids living in our house, right?
Yeah.
Some little ones that were really disappointed about Santa Claus. So I could barely get to sleep, wake up around 6. Mom wakes up. She's drunk, but she's a happy drunk. And then at 7 o'clock, my dad walks in the house. And the fear, when my father's car drove up, it was like ice in my house. I'm not exaggerating. And a lot of fear. Dad walks in, and we're talking about, Mom, don't say anything to Dad. Mom, don't say anything to Dad. She wouldn't listen. She's asking where he's been all night. And I'm 59 years old. This was 47 years ago. Later, I can remember the sound of his fist hit her in the face that morning. She fell on the ground.
Christmas morning.
She fell on the ground. She's begging him. He kicks her in the stomach hard enough, takes her breath from her. She can't mouth any more words. And about that time, Larry, help came. Somebody knocks on the door. And I open the door. It's 2 police officers. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, Dad's going to beat you guys up.
Yeah.
So they walk in, and to my total surprise, when my father saw them, he quit beating Mama. And those cops told us that morning. It's why I have a different feel for policemen than some people do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the policeman told those little kids, he goes, gang, don't y'all worry. I'm going to pass by here throughout the day. And if you need help, just call our precinct.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of your mama today. And that was, I just described to you, my best Christmas ever.
When Hope knocked on the door.
Knocked on the door, dude. And the rest of the day, we had turkey and dressing. We were happy. We had fun. We didn't have the anxious we had. And so something bad happened.
Yeah.
But I didn't invest my energy in that bad thing. I invested in a good thing to happiness had there. And that's really what runs my life.
Now, that's a powerful statement. You did not invest your energy in the negative. You invested your energy in the positive. So this is what happens many times, John. People will take situations, circumstances, when they reflect, and they have automatic negative thoughts. And when they have these automatic negative thoughts, it carries them back to that situation in the past. Instead of having what you choose to do, have pets. I call them ants and pets, performance enhancing thoughts, where our performance will enhance our consciousness of our now. And when we take that, it's a springboard into, if you can visualize it, you can materialize it. Now, you say something powerful in this book. I want to get this. Here's something, I might need to put these on. Growing up with a domineering, abusive father and an alcoholic, suicidal mother, John witnessed racial abuse and apathy, but no love. Now, you talk about somebody in the book, as I was reviewing the book, and this just grabbed my heart. You talk about Nancy. Mm-hmm. And you talk about in the book, and see, people need to go out and buy this book. It's a journey that you're carrying people on and having them navigate your journey. You give them insight into what can become a victorious situation out of an abusive and a bad situation. You talk about Nancy.
Yeah.
Your beloved Nancy.
Well, Nancy loved me.
Yeah.
And I knew she loved me, how she treated me. She'd play hide and seek with me and play with me and fix me lunch and breakfast and take care of me. And there was a dichotomy because my father would call her names when she wasn't there. And I never understood.
The N-word.
No, he called it a nigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it as a kid because I thought, this is the only person in the world that loves me. How could you be mean to him?
Yeah.
Nancy was everything to me. I remember one time the kid behind the house, he had threw something at me, hit me in the mouth, and it busted my lip. And at a young age, I decided nobody was beating John Neyland but my daddy. And so I chased that boy down, ran into his den, down the hallway, and beat him up in his room at 5 years old.
In his house.
In his house. Because I couldn't control my daddy. But you know what? I can control me.
Yeah.
I went back to my house, and I can remember Nancy had me for lunch that day. She fixed me red beans and rice, sausage, and cornbread. I remember that meal. And I'm eating the meal, and I said, Nancy. She goes, what? They're coming, they're coming. The mama and the 3 kids come out. I was scared to death, right? You know, Nancy told me? Now, I've been criticized for mocking her voice. I'm not mocking Nancy's voice.
Yeah.
She goes, don't you woo my baby. Ain't nobody gonna hurt you. Don't you woo my baby. And
That's the way that was Nancy.
that was Nancy. But that is just a complete love to me that I never had. And yeah, I knew Nancy for about 12 months.
Don't you worry, my baby.
I'm going to take care of you.
Nothing's going to happen to you. I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
Coming from Nancy.
So it really it changed me also. It didn't change me. It didn't change me. I wasn't formed yet. But I never understood racism to save my life.
Yeah.
You know why? My dad would beat my mama, knock her teeth out, make her bloody, beat my brother that way, cuss us, tell us how terrible we are. How is that? How can that person castigate a whole other group of people? You follow me?
Yeah.
And I never understood that. It confused me. I never understood how could Dad do that? And Nancy was just, I may have had her for 10 months in my household. I tried to find her when I graduated from high school. Me and my girlfriend, who I married, went out to her subdivision. We couldn't find her. I wish I'd known her more because it's until just a few years ago, that I'm 59. Until just a few years ago, that's the only love I knew of in my life.
10 months.
10 months.
Wow. And see, when I'm reading the book and I'm seeing the experience and the way that you lay it out so eloquently in the book, it captivates the audience and just pulled me into the book. But now I'm hearing you say it was only 10 months that you knew. And to me, you talk about a time when you were running, Nancy was chasing you and you ran into the wall.
Well, Nancy was a very large woman. And so she booga booga, booga booga. I can still remember it. Booga booga, booga booga. I'm running. I hit the dresser. And man, it hurt. I'm crying. Oh, I'm not going to chase my baby no more. I'm not going to chase. Nancy, I started crying, please chase me, please. It's okay. And one time my dad had just beat the living fire out of me. And she had me back in the bed and she was putting some ointment on where the belt hit me like that.
Yeah.
And there I can remember thinking, as Nancy was putting that medicine on my legs, and I'm not exaggerating, I swear to you, I remember thinking, it might be worth getting that beaten.
Wow.
To get this kind of attention. I swear to you.
I remember, man. Now, do you know how powerful that is? When you say, it may be worth getting the beating and the abuse from my father so that I can get the love, the care that's authentic from Nancy that I know I'm going to get.
It's profound for me, Larry, because I find that I see Nancy throughout the day. When I'm going to the grocery store or to a place, I'll see a black woman that kind of looks like her. And I think that's Nancy. That's Nancy. That was two wonderful experiences in my life was Nancy and my grandma.
Wow. Hold that thought. We're going to come right back. You know, this is so powerful. And you're talking about Nancy, two wonderful experiences. You're talking about your grandmother. And so we're going to talk about that right after we take this quick break. But it's so powerful and how impacting how love was able to be that comforter that you needed to get you beyond those abusive situations. Don't go any place. We'll be right back. The book, yeah. Live the life, man, that you have yet to dream. That thing speaks volumes. You said something about if you can dream it, if you can visualize it, you can materialize it.
You got to see it to be it.
You got to see it to be it. Now, that's a very catchy thing. You got to see it to be it. So and then that's in the imagination. You know, vision is where you can imagine, you can see what other people can't even imagine. That's vision. Now, talk about this brain surgery. Let's talk about that.
Well, I had a terrible case of OCD that came down about 16 years old. And it wasn't like what you see on TV. I had to breathe right, pray right, feel right, get it right to walk past the doorway over a crack. And if I got it wrong, God was going to do bad things to my girlfriend or my wife, who later became my wife, right? So it was very, very stressful. And I tried every medication I could try. Nothing worked. I tried experimental drugs. And then when nothing else worked, they said, that's it. I said, there's nothing else. And the doctor said, well, I heard there's a doctor doing experimental brain surgery, but I know you wouldn't want to do that. I said, what's his name? And so I went and saw the doctor. He had done 20 of them up to that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw the doctor, and he said, well, all but 2 have been successful. And we signed up for it. So you're awake during the surgery. And I was the funnest guy they ever had, because you're awake their whole surgery.
Yes.
And when they got your head, they put a halo traction on your head, they go screw a screw into your skull. They give you a pain shot. And I was teasing the nurse. I said, that kind of smarts, is that necessary? And I'm laying on the table, and the doctor says, John, we're going to get started. You ready? I said, fire him up, doc. And Larry, when that drill went off, I wasn't expecting what happened. It shook my whole body.
Wow.
And it was, but that, I got through it. That wasn't that bad. But then they stick a thing inside your brain, and it electronic stimulates your brain. And at one time, one eye starts spinning left, the other spins right. And I was nervous. And I said, Doc, we got a problem. My eyes are moving. He goes, John, it's not a problem. It is for me. But short story to save a good amount of time, I had the worst experience in my life from 10 to 11 to 11:20 that day. It was just the worst emotional depression and anxiety I felt in my life.
Yes.
And I fell asleep that night at 6. So I had to come back and have a month later it finished. And that surgery, mom showed up and my dad showed up. My mom showed up, my sister showed up. The second surgery, I thought I was going to die. I was scared to death. I said a prayer that morning at 5 in the morning. And I said, God, I can't make it through the surgery. I know I can't. I got to have your help. There's no way I'll get through this without your help.
Yeah.
And please help me. And they came in to wheel me into the operating room, and I asked my wife, where's mom and dad? She says, they didn't make it. Neither did my siblings.
Yeah.
So as I'm wheeled into the operating room, I think to myself, well, at least they'll be there for the funeral.
Wow.
And didn't hear from them for 2 years after the surgery.
No communication.
No communication. But I got over it, and now it's just a distant memory. But the hurt I have from it is that my father always told us he didn't love us, and I really felt that way. I mean, if you're not here for me in this worst need of my life, maybe you don't love me. And that was the most painful of the whole surgery.
So now, even through all of the abuse, all of the beatings, everything that took place in your life, during this second surgery, you still expected for your father and your mother to be there because there was an emotional and a psychological need that you needed.
I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
I thought they'd be there for that. And so I don't begrudge them for that, but it's still, that's the only thing in my lifetime really that still hurts. That's the one pain I have for the last 59 years.
Now, okay, now you just said it still hurts. So you still experience the pain that came from that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you something that's very powerful, because you're going to help people who are experiencing some of the same things, experiencing the pain still at 59 years of age. From that memory, what would be some steps, if you would, 1 or 2 keys that would be able to assist somebody in navigating through that pain, that psychological and emotional pain of your parents not being there and this abusive father? You still hungered and thirst for his love.
Well, I teach that in my book. There's a way to get rid of this. I just hadn't chose to face it yet, okay?
Talk to us about that.
So we have a foundation, John's Dream. We help people all over the country, and we teach a process called collective momentum. Collective momentum teaches you this. Whatever you want in life, you know what you want to have, and that's good to go. But life happens, and you get off track. And so many of us say, I'm not happy because I didn't get the job, or because I got laid off, didn't get the car, didn't get the house. They're all referring to something that happened to them, which you have no power over. But you want to focus on things you have power control over.
Yes.
So the pivot point's this: fear, courage, control, and compromise. So I start with control first off. Well, what can I control with that experience, that surge that didn't show up? What can I control about that?
Yes.
Absolutely nothing, okay? I have no fear about it. It wasn't a fearful thing. I'm compromising right now because I'm allowing that energy to have a negative life where I shouldn't. So I need, if I want to get rid of this, I haven't decided to. When I'm ready to, I'll quit compromising and I'll let it go.
Powerful. You're compromising.
I know I am.
Because you are allowing.
I'm allowing that.
It's a choice. When you choose not to allow, then I just heard you say that you'll gain the victory over it. Here's a question. Speak to me right now about what's preventing you or stopping you from taking the step to do what you know you have the ability to do.
Well, what's stopping me from that is that that still gives me some relationship with my family. that gives me a relationship.
You see where we got to?
Yeah. Not good, but gives me a relationship.
Still that connection. And if I don't have that,
I have nothing.
I sense that I don't have that connection. Right?
Yeah.
But now, what would happen if you took those ants, turn them into pets? What would be a time or a situation where you could reflect and go back? It may be with your siblings. It may be an occasion where you had something positive to come that reminds you of your beloved mother. And then maybe an occasion where you had something positive to come, even if you have to search for it, that reminds you of your father. And you could magnify that as opposed to magnifying the negative.
Well, now I do that on a daily basis with Father.
Yeah.
So I forgave my father years ago.
First key.
And he's helped me tremendously be very successful in business. I've got a very successful business career. I learned tools from him that I use. So I have that relationship with my father every single day.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a deep relationship with my mama because she had 6 kids and the squeaky wheel got the oil back then, right? So we had the older brother who was the big brother. We had the sister who was the big sister, and there was me. So what I'm going to do, I'm sure I have that power for this. You call me tomorrow. I'm going to quit compromise on this one today.
So you just made a decision.
I can do it just like that.
Yeah.
I can let go of it.
Yeah.
And that's about the only thing from my child. That's the only thing from childhood that still harmed me in any way.
Yeah.
Or affected me was that.
Yeah. And you just made a decision to quit compromising on that. We've got 5 minutes. Man, I tell you, this is so powerful. So you just, now notice what you've done. You just made a decision to stop compromising on it. How long have you been holding on to that?
24 years.
And you just made a decision today that it will be no more.
But I was conscious of the fact I was keeping it alive.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it was a way, I don't know what it was. I was trying to some way find a way for them to love me, to feel like they loved me. They cared about me.
But you communicated that. The skills that he taught you, that's turned into a successful business for you. Let that be your anchor. Let that be what you hold on to. Does that make sense?
And I do.
Yeah. So now, some powerful chapters in this book. If you were to give our audience some key points, look right there, give them some key points about this book that would make them just want to run out and get this book right now.
Well, all of us have problems. Some of them are bigger than others, but they're problems. But what we haven't been taught is how to address those problems, how to remedy that problem. So in the book, I teach about the stories of my life. You learn how I came up with these processes through my life stories.
Yes.
And then in the last 2 chapters, I show you how to take this information, apply it to your life, and give yourself freedom.
That's powerful. So the book not only gives information and insights into the experiences of your life, navigating that journey, but then you have some valuable tools that will equip people if they will choose to take those tools and learn from your experiences, where they can be successful and avoid some things that you had to face and challenge.
Well, think about it. You went to school maybe 12 years, maybe 16 years, and we all would probably agree the thing we most want to have in this world is happiness, right? We all want happiness. Well, all the courses you've taken, how many classes were on happiness, how to be happy?
Yeah.
And I teach happiness in this book.
Wow.
How to find happiness. The thing we most want to have.
It's taught in the book.
It's taught in the book.
All they have to do is be willing to learn what's being taught.
That's all you have to do is read it, and I have my numbers in the book. You can call me for help.
Yeah.
I've got an organization. We help people all over the country.
They simply need to receive and apply what's in the book.
That's all you got to do.
Now, that is so powerful. That is so powerful. So let's do this. We have about 2 minutes left. And so do this, John. Contact information is in the book. But look right there. Tell them how they can get in touch with you and website, email, contact information.
Well, 2 websites, johnsdream.com. That's where we do our work and helping other people. JOHNSDREAM.com. Number is 877-755-0488. I also have a website called jcnspeaks.com. That's where we speak around the country. So if you'd like me to speak in your church or your social organization or your business, call me. I'd be glad to do that.
Yeah.
On my speaking engagements, whatever fees we charge, we donate those to our foundation to help the people that are calling to us for help.
Yes. That is so powerful. You know, it's a fascinating book fascinating read. And again, live the life you've yet to dream. John C. Neyland. Now, a powerful story of love, demonstration, and empathy that will impact anyone who reads it.
I do believe.
Yes, sir. That's so powerful, powerful. John, thank you so much, man, for being here. I tell you, the time just flies.
Sure did, didn't it?
You're an inspiration. You being vulnerable and transparent is going to transform lives for people who are being held hostage, and they're going to be set free.
When I wrote this book, it didn't take a lot of courage to do it, but on one chapter.
Yeah.
And that chapter took a lot of courage, but I did it.
Right.
I'm very proud of that.
Okay. Hey, I'm Dr. Larry Carnes. We're glad that you joined us right here for another episode of Spotlight TV. Remember to always join us right here for Spotlight TV. John, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure's mine.
Take care.